All right, everyone. I'm Erik with the No, and today with me is Mr. Alan Cole with Rivals Gamecocks. Alan, how's it going today, man?
Good. Appreciate you having me. Looking forward to Saturday.
Absolutely, man. It's gonna be a fun one. So Alan, man, you guys putting together a pretty good season so far, 2-0. You guys had a dominating victory over Kentucky on the road in the SEC. Talk to us about the vibes around the South Carolina football program right now.
I think the vibes are as high as they've been in a while here. Uneven after week one, you struggled against Old Dominion, but you found a way to win that game. You go up there to week two, you're a 10-point underdog. You blow Kentucky out in pretty much every phase of the game. You got College Game Day coming in. Obviously, LSU's a brand name. It's a program. It's a big deal when LSU's here. It hasn't happened since, 2008? I think was the last time LSU played in Columbia. So it's I think people are looking forward to it. It's things are going well right now for South Carolina.
Good deal, man. Yeah, that's what I was looking at this morning. It's first time game day goes there in almost 10 years to the date. It's vibes are high right now. Coach Beamer seems to have that program going in the right direction. So, man, this South Carolina offense, it's led by running back Raheem Rocket Sanders, and he's one of the most experienced guys in the SEC right now. He played his first few years at Arkansas and transfers over to South Carolina. And, he's 10th right now in the SEC in rushing, preseason second team all SEC. Then also at the quarterback position, adding on to that rushing threat, you have Lenora Sanders as well as Robbie Ashford, who LSU fans are all too familiar with. You have to respect their arms, but also at the same time, if they get out of the pocket, it's trouble, So talk to us a little bit about this South Carolina offense.
Yeah, so this offense is a work in progress still. Lenore Sellers, the redshirt freshman quarterback, he took over obviously from Spencer Rattler, who of course Louisianans know with the Saints right now. He's young, he's made some mistakes, but you can kind of see the tools are there. Like you said, he gets outside the pocket well. He had a couple good throws on the run in that Kentucky game, but he also had one interception, and he has three fumbles already this year, although two of them his teammates fell back on. So there's some, it's to take the good with the bad with a young quarterback like that. You can see the tools, the idea. It's kind of a KJ Jefferson type look, just kind of a bigger bodied running quarterback. And obviously that worked out pretty well at Arkansas. And then obviously, the focal point of the offense is still Rocket Sanders. Kind of goes without saying what he can do in the SEC. He hasn't quite got the legs moving yet this year. He does have a touchdown on each game, but he hasn't broken one of those kind of long runs yet. South Carolina's offensive line is also pretty young. You're starting a true freshman at left tackle. You're starting a right tackle who is a sophomore technically, but he only played one game in his freshman year, or two games, and he got hurt. So he's pretty much brand new there too. So it's just trying to find the right pieces in the right spots. Last week, Mazio Bennett, he's another true freshman, caught a touchdown pass. It's a really young offense that, I don't think even South Carolina fans would deny it's not there yet. There's a lot of exciting pieces, and it's just kind of about getting a little bit better each week right now. And last week wasn't perfect, but it was better than week one. So I think that's an encouraging sign if you're a South Carolina fan.
Got you, man. Yeah, so that offense is definitely moving in the right direction. And like you said, Bennett, the four-star, man, he looks the part. He might not have all the crazy stats right now, but you could tell he's a playmaker in the making, And so moving on to the defensive side of the ball, of course, on the defensive line, you got TJ Sanders and Tonka Hemingway, who's just backfield disruptors, in my opinion. These guys just like to get downhill quick. And also coming off the edge, you got one of each, right? You got Kyle Kennard coming off the one side, fifth-year senior, and then you got true freshman Dylan Stewart, who is just, he's just a big play waiting to happen. Too exciting. This guy's just very exciting. Dylan Stewart's just a real problem, So then also Debo Williams, he's just a ball hawk. And in the defensive backfield, you got Jalen Kilgore, who's just a interception machine, and this is a pretty good defense, So talk to us a little bit about this defense.
Yeah, I think coming into the year, everybody knew the defense would have to carry this team. They had a lot of roster continuity. I think it was 11 of the top 13 in tackles off last year's roster were back this year. Then obviously, like you said, you add Kyle Kennard to the transfer portal, who was very productive at Georgia Tech last year, Power 5 school. You add Dylan Stewart, who's a 5-star. I mean, he's the highest rated recruit here since Jadeveon Clowney. Already looks the part through 2 games. I think really it's just like you said, the word disruptive is kind of what comes to mind. It's especially up front. You can roll a lot of bodies. They're going to play 11 or 12 guys in the D-line on Saturday. You're going to see probably, 6 different defensive ends and 5 or maybe 6 defensive tackles. They get guys in and out in a hurry. Gilbert Edmond is a Florida State transfer. He's had a good start to the season. Brian Thomas Jr. had a big play against Kentucky last week. It's just coming at you from all angles up front. They put a lot of pressure on you. They cause, like you said, they cause a lot of problems for an offensive line. That being said, I do think they're going to have to blitz a little more this weekend because, it goes without saying how good LSU's line is. Probably the best combination of tackles in the country for LSU with Campbell and Jones. So I think that's kind of the best on best matchup of the weekend, right? It's LSU's offensive tackles against South Carolina's defensive ends. And, they're both probably going to win a fair share of theirs within the game. And then it's going to come down to me, South Carolina's corners, especially probably on islands for a lot of the game because you have to blitz against this LSU team. And like you said, a guy like Jalen Kilgore, Nick Emanwuri at safety was all SEC freshman 2 years ago. He's a junior now. He had a pick 6 against Kentucky last week. DQ Smith's also a junior safety who's played a lot of football at South Carolina. I think this is as much about South Carolina's secondary as anything. Just you kind of think the upfront stuff's going to cancel each other out. It'll be about even. Both sides really good up there. And it's can LSU's wide receivers find enough space against South Carolina's DBs?
Got you. Yeah, man. This excuse me. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I believe that the tackles against the defensive ends coming off the edge, that's going to be strength on strength right there. That's going to be the matchup to watch. Also, on the special team side, you guys have Kai Kroger and Alex Herrera. That's 2. Kroger could pin you in a heartbeat, and Herrera could knock him down from basically anywhere on the field, So you guys are pretty stout on special teams as well. So talk to us a little bit about those 2 guys.
Yeah, obviously you'd expect the Shane Beamer team, from his dad, the Beamer ball at Virginia Tech, you'd expect the Shane Beamer team to be good on special teams, and it is. Herrera's new kicker this year. Last year's kicker transferred out, but he's looked solid through 2 games so far. He's put the ball where it needs to. I think the kickoff coverage is kind of an underrated aspect for South Carolina, but they pinned Kentucky inside the 20. I think it was either 3 or 4 kickoffs last week that Kentucky took out of the end zone and South Carolina took care of. Kai Kroger, like you said, was all SEC punter 2 years ago. Had another solid year last year, average over 50 yards a punt last week. It's a real special, and I think it's worth mentioning too for South Carolina special teams that they do like to get tricky. Kai Kroger in the first game of the year, he's the holder on field goal attempts. The play got called back for a penalty. They had a lineman downfield, but he threw a touchdown pass on a fake field goal to tight end Brady Hunt. That's something we've seen in the past. They completed a fake punt against Tennessee last year. 2 years ago against Georgia, Kai completed a fake punt. So I think this is a tricky special teams unit, and it kind of just does the job to kick coverage, punt coverage, and it gives an opponent special teams something to at least be aware of.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, that could be that could definitely be something that could be the difference in the game. If you guys bust one open off of special teams, off of a trick play, that could be it. So Bryce Williams Stadium is already, one of the tougher environments to play in, but it's going to be absolutely rocking and rolling, I believe, on Saturday. How's the weather looking? I was kind of looking a little while ago. It looks like it might be a little rough, but
yeah, I want to try to get you an accurate update here because I was looking at that earlier today too. As of now, it looks like it's going to be rainy. I'm hoping the storms hold off. So there's a chance of storms. So I think it's going to be wet. It's going to be slick. Obviously, LSU is no stranger to that, but I do think that if it ends up being rainy, it could play to South Carolina's advantage just because LSU's running game hasn't been consistent through 2 weeks. And I think if this becomes kind of an ugly game, it maybe favors South Carolina a little bit more. But at the same time, South Carolina's offense has been mistake prone too, turnover prone, and that obviously doesn't go well with rain too. So it might be about a wash, no pun intended.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm much as I don't like to say it, I kind of agree with you. I think that with an ugly game, not an ugly game, but with a rain-soaked game, I think that it definitely favors South Carolina as far as ball control with their running game. I think that definitely leans in South Carolina's favor. So with game day coming to town, do you have any guess on the guest picker? Who's that going to be?
I would have to imagine Dawn Staley. I think that makes so much sense with the women's basketball national championship, ESPN having the rights to that. Just kind of the general vibes on campus with that. They're honoring the women's basketball team at halftime from the national championship. They were at the White House yesterday. It's just kind of is the thing on campus right now. So I think Dawn Staley is the most likely, but you can never count out Darius Rucker whenever they're talking South Carolina, because he's obviously a Gamecock and a pretty well-known one.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Alan, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks so much for talking to us about Gamecock football, and I'm excited for it. Excited for the game Saturday. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
All righty.